3 months ago, I watched someone upload a simple puzzle book to Amazon KDP. No marketing, no ads, no social media promotion. Today, that book is generating $3,000 per month in passive income, and I'm about to show you exactly how they did it. If you've tried Amazon KDP before and failed, or if you're getting zero sales despite having books live on Amazon, this video will show you exactly what you're missing. By the end of this video, not only will you know exactly how to find profitable niches that have demand but little competition, but you'll also have the complete system to create books that sell consistently without spending a single dollar on ads. But first, let me make sure we're all on the same page about what Amazon KDP actually is, because understanding this properly is crucial to everything that follows. Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing is essentially Amazon's print-on-demand service. When someone orders your book, Amazon prints it in their facility, ships it to the customer, handles all the customer service, and you get paid a royalty. Now, when you go to Amazon and search for something like camping word search, you'll see all these book results. But these books don't actually exist yet. What you're seeing are just digital mock-ups of covers. The actual physical book only gets created when someone clicks buy now. This creates an incredible opportunity, but it also creates a massive trap that catches almost everyone who tries this. The opportunity is obvious. You can create and sell physical books with zero upfront investment, no inventory, no shipping headaches. Amazon handles everything. Oh, the trap is where most people lose everything. See, the fundamental mistake that almost everyone makes is thinking about this backwards. They think about what's easy to create instead of thinking about what people actually want to buy. They think about broad markets instead of specific problems. They think about competing with everyone instead of serving someone. But the people making real money with Amazon KDP have figured out that the key to success isn't creating books for everyone. It's creating books for someone very specific with a very specific problem. Let me give you a perfect example of how this works. Instead of creating a generic crossword puzzle book that competes with thousands of others, what if you created crossword puzzles specifically designed for people studying anatomy? Not medical crosswords in general, but crossword puzzles specifically for nursing students preparing for exams. Suddenly, instead of competing against every crossword book on Amazon, you're only competing against other anatomy study materials. And there aren't many of those that use the crossword format. This is what I call the specificity principle, and it's the foundation of everything that works in Amazon KDP. The more specific your book is, the less competition you'll have, and the more likely you are to rank organically on Amazon. Think about it this way. Would you rather be one of 10,000 people trying to rank for journal, or one of 10 people trying to rank for wedding planning checklist for outdoor ceremonies? The specific always beats the general on Amazon KDP, always. But now, here's where most people get stuck. They understand they need to be specific. They just don't know how to find these specific opportunities. They don't know how to validate that there's actually demand for their specific idea. And they don't know how to make sure they're not walking into a market that's already saturated. So let me walk you through the exact process, step by step. The first thing you need to understand is that people don't buy books on Amazon. They buy solutions to problems. That wedding planner isn't buying a notebook. She's buying peace of mind that she won't forget anything important on the biggest day of someone's life. That nursing student isn't buying crossword puzzles. She's buying a more enjoyable way to study for exams that could determine her entire career. This is why themed, purpose-driven books consistently outperform generic ones. They're not just books, they're solutions. So the first step in finding these opportunities is to think about problems, not products. Don't think, what kind of book should I create? Think, what problems do people have that a book could solve? Let me give you some examples of how this thinking works. Instead of thinking recipe book, think about the problems people have with cooking. Busy parents who need quick, healthy meals. People on specific diets who can't find recipes that fit their restrictions. College students who need cheap, easy meals they can make in a dorm room. Each of these problems represents a potential book opportunity. For example, a 15-minute healthy meals for busy parents, keto meal prep recipes for beginners, dorm room cooking, 50 easy recipes you can make with basic equipment. See how much more specific and compelling those are compared to just recipe book? Now, once you start thinking this way, you'll start seeing opportunities everywhere. But you need to validate that there's actually demand for your specific solution before you spend time creating it. This is where most people either skip the research entirely or they get overwhelmed by trying to do complex market analysis. But the truth is, validating demand for Amazon KDP books is actually pretty straightforward if you know what to look for. The first thing I do is go directly to Amazon and start searching. Let's say I'm interested in that dorm room cooking idea. I'll search for dorm room recipes, college cooking, easy student meals, and similar terms. What am I looking for? I'm looking at three things. First, are there books already ranking for these terms? If there are no books at all, that might mean there's no demand. But if there are some books, that's actually good. It means people are searching for and buying books on this topic. Second, how many books are there? If I see hundreds of books all targeting the exact same keywords, that's probably too competitive. But if I see 10, 20 books, that's potentially a good opportunity. Third, and this is crucial, what do the existing books look like? Are they high quality, professional looking books with lots of reviews? Or are they clearly low effort books with generic covers and poor descriptions? If most of the existing books look low quality, that's a huge opportunity because you can create something better and potentially dominate that niche. Now Amazon search is just the beginning. The real gold mine is in finding the search terms that people are using that don't have good books serving them yet. For example, when someone searches for dorm room cooking, what are they really looking for? They might be looking for recipes, sure, but they might also be looking for meal planning guides, grocery shopping lists for students, or even cookbooks specifically designed for the tiny kitchens and limited equipment that most dorm rooms have. Each of these represents a different angle, a different way to serve that same core need. And the beautiful part is you can often find angles that have demand, but almost no competition. One of the simplest ways to find these opportunities is using Amazon's own autocomplete feature. When you start typing in Amazon's search bar, it shows you the most popular completions based on real search data. Amazon is literally telling you what people are searching for most often. So if I type college cook into Amazon's search bar, it might suggest college cookbook, college cooking for dummies, college cooking essentials, and so on. Each of these suggestions represents real search volume. Now, let me show you how to take this research to the next level. You need to understand not just what people are searching for, but how realistic it is for you to rank for those terms. This is where you need to think like Amazon's algorithm. You see, Amazon wants to show customers the books that are most likely to make them happy because happy customers buy more books. So Amazon looks at several factors when deciding which books to show for any given search. The most important factors are relevance, sales velocity, and customer satisfaction. Relevance means how well your book matches what someone is searching for. Sales velocity means how many copies you're selling relative to other books in your category. Customer satisfaction means things like reviews, return rates, and how long people spend on your book page. The insight here is that when you target very specific niches, you're automatically optimizing for all three of these factors. Your book is highly relevant because it exactly matches what people are searching for. Your sales velocity can be high even with modest numbers because you're not competing against thousands of books, and customer satisfaction tends to be high because people get exactly what they expected. Let me give you a real example of how powerful this can be. There's a niche for crossword puzzles themed around specific decades, like 1980s nostalgia crosswords. When you search for this on Amazon, you'll find there are people looking for exactly this type of content, but there are very few books serving this specific need. Compare that to searching for just crossword puzzles, where you're competing against thousands of generic puzzle books. The 1980s themed approach gives you a much better chance of ranking on the first page and actually getting found by people who want exactly what you're offering. This same principle applies across every category. Instead of weight loss, you might target weight loss for busy moms over 40. Instead of travel journal, you might target RV travel log with maintenance tracker. Instead of recipe book, you might target one pot meals for college students. Now let's talk about actually creating these books, because this is where a lot of people get intimidated. They think they need to be expert writers or graphic designers, but that's not true at all. The key is understanding that for most Amazon KDP books, you're not writing the next great American novel. You're creating practical resources that solve specific problems. And there are tools and systems that make this much easier than most people realize. For content creation, let's use that anatomy crossword example. You don't need to be a medical expert to create this. You just need to research anatomy terms, create appropriate clues, and format them into crossword puzzles. There are AI tools that can help generate comprehensive word lists with clues, and there are also free crossword generators that create professional-looking grids automatically. For recipe books, you're not inventing new recipes from scratch. You're simply curating and organizing existing information in a way that serves your specific audience. For planners and journals, you're creating templates and structures that help people organize their thoughts or activities. The key is focusing on utility over creativity. Your book needs to be genuinely useful, but it doesn't need to be groundbreaking. Now, when it comes to design and formatting, your cover design needs to do one job, and that is to make people want to click when they see it in search results. This means clear, readable text, even as a small thumbnail, professional appearance that builds trust, in visual elements that immediately communicate what the book is about. Remember, your cover is essentially your book's advertisement. Simple, clean designs often work better than complex artistic ones. Also, your thumbnail needs to work at thumbnail size, because that's how most people will first see it. Now, when you first upload your book, Amazon essentially tests it. They show it to a small number of people and see how they respond. If people click on it, look at it, and buy it, Amazon shows it to more people. If people ignore it or click away quickly, Amazon stops promoting it. This means your listing optimization is absolutely crucial. Every element needs to work together to maximize your chances of success. Let's start with your title, which is probably the most important element. Your title needs to include your main keyword so Amazon knows what your book is about. It needs to be compelling enough that people want to click. And it needs to set clear expectations about what the buyer will get. A good title structure is main keyword plus benefit specificity. So instead of just anatomy crossword puzzles, you might use anatomy crossword puzzles, 120 medical terminology, brain teasers for nursing students and healthcare professionals. Notice how this works on multiple levels. The main keyword is at the beginning. The number 120 tells you exactly what you're getting. Medical terminology, brain teasers explains the benefit. And for nursing students and healthcare professionals, specifies exactly who it's for. Next is your book description. This is where you convert browsers into buyers. Most people write terrible descriptions, either too short and generic or stuffed with keywords that sound unnatural. A good description should read like a conversation with your ideal customer. Start by acknowledging their problem. Explain how your book solves that problem. Give specifics about what's inside, address any concerns they might have, and end with a clear call to action. For that anatomy crossword book, you might start with struggling to memorize anatomy terms for your nursing exams, tired of boring flashcards that make studying feel like a chore? Then present your solution. This collection of 120 carefully crafted crossword puzzles makes learning anatomy terminology engaging and effective. The key is making it feel natural while including relevant keywords that help with discoverability. Amazon also gives you 7 back-end keyword fields that customers never see, but the algorithm uses to understand what your book is about. Most people either leave these blank or waste them on keywords they already used in their title. These should be used for related terms, synonyms, and alternative ways people might search for your book. For the anatomy crossword example, you might use terms like medical terminology study guide, nursing school preparation, healthcare education, pre-med resources, and anatomy review. These expand your reach without creating redundancy with your visible keywords. Now, it's not enough to just optimize your listing. You need to give Amazon positive signals right from the start. The first few weeks after you upload are critical for long-term success. This doesn't mean using fake reviews or black hat tactics. It means strategically driving some initial traffic to help Amazon understand that your book is worth promoting. One effective approach is content marketing. Since you've chosen a specific niche, you understand the problems people in that niche face. You can create valuable content around those problems and naturally mention your book as a resource. This might be blog posts, social media content, YouTube videos, or Pinterest pins. Key is providing genuine value while establishing yourself as someone who understands your audience's challenges. Now, once you have your first book ranking and selling consistently, the real opportunity begins. Successful Amazon KDP publishers don't just create one book, they build catalogs of related books that cross-promote each other. If your anatomy crossword book is successful, you can create anatomy word search puzzles, medical terminology flashcards, nursing study guides, or healthcare professional planners. Each book targets slightly different keywords, but serves the same audience. This creates what I call the catalog effect. Amazon's algorithm notices when customers who buy one of your books also buy your others. It starts recommending your books together and showing them to people who bought similar books from other authors. Each new book creates another entry point for customers to discover your brand, and it increases the lifetime value of each customer. Someone might find you through your crossword book, then buy your word search book, then your study guide. But scaling isn't just about creating more books. It's about creating better systems. As your catalog grows, you need processes for research, creation, and optimization that can handle multiple books efficiently. This might mean developing templates for your research process, standardized formats for your books, and systems to track performance across your entire catalog. The most successful publishers treat this like a real business with systems and processes that allow them to scale efficiently. Now, I want to address something that's crucial for long-term success, and that is understanding that Amazon's algorithm is constantly evolving. What works today might not work as well 6 months from now. But if you understand Amazon's underlying goals, you can adapt to changes instead of being hurt by them. Amazon wants to show customers books that will make them happy because happy customers spend more money on Amazon. This means that books which genuinely serve their audience well will always have an advantage regardless of specific algorithm changes. Books that solve real problems, deliver on their promises, and create satisfied customers will continue to succeed. The most resilient strategy is diversifying your keyword approach. Don't rely on ranking for just 1 or 2 search terms. Make sure your books can be found through multiple different searches. If Amazon changes how it handles one search term, you still have multiple other ways for people to find your books. Building what I call organic momentum is also crucial. This means getting sales and reviews through channels other than just Amazon's internal search. When you have external traffic coming to your books from content marketing, social media, or other sources, you're less dependent on Amazon's algorithm for success. Now, let me give you realistic expectations about timing, because this is where a lot of people get discouraged and give up too early. The first month is your research and creation phase. You're identifying opportunities, creating your first book, and getting it uploaded. Don't expect significant sales during this month. Your focus should be on doing the foundational work correctly. For the second and third month, your book is live, and Amazon's algorithm is learning what it's about. You might see a few sales, but probably not many. This is completely normal. Use this time to monitor performance, gather early feedback, and start working on your second book. For months 4 through 6, if you've chosen a